Hello, all, and welcome. This is Dice of Ages. I'm your National Game Master TJ, presenting CrestVahllen, C3, the Cold Iron
Coalition.
CrestVahllen Coalition, right? Is that
CrestVahllen
Cold Iron Coalition. We are here. So we're here with Osfer Nea. It's Onea.
Nea's fine.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure it's not Olnea, it's Onea, right?
It's Olnea.
Olnea. Okay, cool. Olnea and Bastion. Cool. So we are here. I'm gonna kind of skim over what we did because last time we did a bit of a vignette thing because you guys went off and did your own thing. But just to kind of recap what had happened before that, just real quick so that we know what we're doing. We left off where you had kind of met with Kasiksi in the underground,
where the river flows underneath
the canal, and eventually the other people met with you and you guys had a battle with her. You almost got swallowed into an abyss.
Nea found me as I was being swallowed.
Correct.
And she helped me finish him off.
Because Osfer and Fade were busy with what was going on in the time dilation of the Tokran's Trust. Because that's a safety deposit box room. Eventually, what was summoned was the Crystal Brand and a Luck Child, and you made a deal. Osfer, I believe, if I'm not sure, made a deal with the Luck Child to, hey, okay, I'll take care of it for you. Went in and grabbed only what you asked of them to grab, which was Fade.
Could have been more specific.
I left
that.
everything else, but there was an individual in there
at least
that
we
was
saved his life. So
yes. One of the safety features of the Tokran's Trust is that should it ever be infiltrated, automatically initiates time dilation, like slow, pretty much on the whole area, hyper enchanted, terrazine enhanced, so it's very, very, very powerful, and it becomes like to the point where it almost looks like if a bee was flapping their wings, you could see that go like flop, flop, like that's kind of how slow it is. That happened. Your friend was retrieved in order to save face. Tokran's Trust was like, what can we do to try to, because all your shit's gonna get turned to and incinerated because there's a terrazine issue now. Because some terrazine was involved in it, and you guys bargained for real estate and an airship, which is fucking wild. I think somebody rolled a natural 20 on the persuasion or something stupid high. So that's what happened. Just so you guys know, airships are very few people know even airships exist. Airships are very proprietary technology, very well kept close to the chest when it comes to the Razor Fang agreement. So finding, like, there may be a handful of them in the world so far that are in current existence. This is cutting edge technology.
I have a feeling we're not going to be subtle with our airship use. I feel like everyone's going to know
if
that
you
there's
let Fade
airships
Captain,
pretty soon.
it's not going to be subtle, for sure. But anyway,
Let Fade Captain?
yeah. Well, I did send you the thing, and like there are different roles for like
I don't
captain,
think he'll
rigger,
let us
the whole
not
thing.
let him be captain.
Like robot with flamethrower and chainsaw, pirate hat.
Like, my ship.
This is going to happen.
Granted, I don't think anybody has a vehicle proficiency, so nobody's like proficient in any of the things that would happen, which is why I did give you a 0 modifier for what's going on. If you did have a vehicle proficiency, then you could apply your thing, but otherwise you'd only be able to apply your stat thing, not your proficiency, because nobody's proficient in vehicle stuff.
Animal handling, analogous.
And I don't believe so.
like
I
flying a
believe I
big
said
dragon.
also that the maximum crew for it is a 9. If you wanted to make it nice and crowded, it's a maximum of 9, I believe.
Right here.
You have crew 4. Oh, yeah.
Current crew is
The
4.
max is 9.
Crew is 4.
Gotcha.
The maximum is 9. And that would be like if you staffed it. Then pretty much it would be fully staffed and fully crewed if it was of 9. But it could still skeleton crew of 4.
Who even knows how to fly an airship? Or is that like...
Do you have vehicle proficiency?
No, I'm saying if we were going to go recruit staff, who even knows how to fly an airship?
You're gonna have
Is
to
that
find
like
out.
analogous to sailing a ship? imagine it's probably not.
I think you're going to have to go and find out.
Okay.
Triumvirate special forces.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know that the only people who make these things are the Razorfang Agreement because they're the most technologically advanced nation in the world, or in the continent, as far as you know, and they're the people that created this. So as far as somebody who knows how to do an airship, would make sense that somebody from there who is of some type of station in which they would know how to do that because they were either involved in its creation or commissioned to be involved in its piloting. I mean, it is similar to a ship. However, it is 3 dimensions rather than 2 dimensions. So there's a lot to think about.
We're going to need some money if we do that because we're not exactly liquid right now, and they might just like take our ship and leave.
Granted, Fade had gone quite a bit ways, had like kind of just spent some like chump change on a horse in order to move a nice Clydesdale so that they were able to hold his weight to move east in order to meet somebody out far, far, far outside the bounds, probably halfway between the Razorfang and the city, which is quite a few miles, because there's no receptacle for airships in Strita. No city, as far as you know, or no bastion of civilization has a port for airships because it is such new cutting-edge technology. So they are doing that, and they're probably meeting with the liaison as such that is supposed to hand it off and just getting some of the details drawn out. As, that happened after the Luckchild thing and you know, working out this agreement. We believe we talked about before how this is kind of a strike while the iron is hot kind of agreement thing. Like you kind of have them by the balls at the moment because they don't want this bad publicity because they are very, very like their reputation as Tokran's Trust is like they've never, ever, as far as the public is concerned, had a successful robbery. And the fact that somebody ended up inside of a safety deposit box room and made things even like to question the possibility of someone being able to sequester and relinquish types of resources from their custody is not a good look. So they're like, they pretty much has paid you hush money in the forms of real estate and an airship. Now, although your requests as far as airship and real estate have been exorbitant because you're like, everything is gold, they spared no expense, obviously, just so you know, and I believe Osfer would probably be the one that would be able to understand this the most because he's probably been about a little bit more civilization and understand people more than anybody else that is here. They absolutely could spare an expense. You saw the crystal brand here. If it makes more sense for them to just make sure you don't talk, they could make sure that you don't talk. They'd rather grease palms, but as far as saying, like, we would like to ask for the world, and like, well, if that's all you're going to do, then we have other ways of making sure you stay silent, type of thing. And that, of course, the Razorfang Agreement as itself is widely viewed as a more moral, well, it's kind of up in the air, as a more moral nation as far as like saying we'd rather take care of our people and we'd rather be on the level, but capitalism is heavy. Capitalism is real heavy. So if you're about to tank the stock of one of the most rich corporations that exist in the world, they're going to take some steps. It's pretty much like you saying, like, I have information that's going to tank Vanguard and BlackRock, and you could blackmail them for, you know, a couple properties around the United States or whatever it is. But at some point, they're going to be like, okay, it's worth it just to get rid of you and invoke the second oldest profession. So
Prostitution?
the first oldest profession is prostitution. The second oldest profession,
Pimping.
Assassination.
nope, assassin.
Killing for money.
So that's the idea. So it just makes sense for you not don't push the envelope too far. But you were given the option of real estate that was currently up to bid, as far as the towers that surround the river that goes south towards Solis, past the Mantorn Forest.
Goes in the notes. Sorry.
Today it does.
There was a northern homestead that had a bunch of farmland, and there was a haunted. You put. I thought this was common knowledge. And there was a haunted forest manor within the Mantorn Forest, and so you guys were kind of deciding among this. Now, afterward, all of you kind of had that was a big thing. Maybe some trauma, just a lot of stuff happened, and you guys kind of wanted well, we're in the big city. Nay was I have to I'll meet you whatever, and you figured out a time to meet later. And about 3 or 4 days later, you guys end up meeting back, but you guys kind of all do your own thing. Fade has gone to the east, outside of the city, to gather the airship the best they can, and everyone else is kind of we're gonna do some errands within the city, and then we'll meet back. Is there a specific place you wanted to meet back at within the city or without the city?
I mean,
Probably the
Cochran
inn.
gave us a room.
Yeah.
Oh, what, the TikTok Tavern?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, they gave you a voucher. I believe you booked a room with that voucher for
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah, for
Yeah.
a couple days. I think it was 3 days. So 3 days happened from the 4th. So it ended up being the 7th. And then 4 days after that, pretty much the vignettes that had happened while you guys went off and do your own were about 4 days. So we went from I believe it was the 4th of Akiel when, I have it here. No.
The 7th was the appraisal day. That was the day.
The 3rd of
day shit
Akiel.
went
I'm
down.
sorry. The 4th of Akiel was when you approached the Tokran's Trust at the beginning, and then you waited 3 days for the appraisal.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's when you spend time at the TikTok Tavern and went and did your own thing a little bit. Then we kind of fast forwarded, and you came back on the 7th for Bitterwater Sweet Luck. That thing.
3rd was when we surfaced in the library. We camped in the library overnight. The 4th was the first day. of the
Correct.
city.
And so by the 7th, that was the
That was when-
beginning of when that whole, hey, we're going to go back to Tokran and see what's
Went
going
to
on. And the slow thing happened and the luck child happened. And then after that, you guys went off and did your vignettes, and 4 days passed. So once we talk about that, currently, right now, where you're meeting up with together is going to start at the 11th, I believe. That would make sense, because 7 plus 4 is 11.
What is time?
Alex, you and I can talk about this at length. But yes, where did you guys kind of decide to meet back up?
Let's say the inn.
You want
Makes
to meet
sense,
back up the TikTok Tavern?
Figure that's where we're all probably staying.
I'll say you guys have a week's worth of vouchers to kind of stay here for free. But they also are kind of we gave you real estate, we gave you an airship.
Yeah,
leave
get
the
the fuck
city,
out.
get out of here.
Yeah.
Here's the vouchers, but leave. Leave.
Cool.
So you're probably getting close to the time where it's about to be done. So if you guys would like, we can pick up from there. You guys know all of your own vignettes. I don't see a reason to recap what had happened there, because it makes more sense for story-wise for you guys to have that information be proprietary among yourselves. We will say that Fade is going to take a while to get here. You don't know when they're going to get here, because they're often a far more protracted event. You guys on we'll say late morning, you guys can meet up at the 11th of Akiel back at the TikTok Tavern.
For brunch.
Not to say that you haven't been sleeping there every night, if you so choose. It's just that now you're okay, we're ready to go do the thing. You do get the sense that you have a bit of as I said, the strike while the iron is hot, kind of a timetable is where the graciousness of this offer may not be a protracted offer. You probably want to just snatch it and be done with it. If you went to go do a bunch of other things for a couple weeks, they might be back well, now the statute of limitations of where you're going to talk about is not as important, so you don't have as much leverage. So why would they continue to offer this? So it makes sense for you to decide on what it is that you want sooner than later. Does that make sense? please take it away.
Yep.
I'm sitting in the inn,
Mhm.
stretching out my breakfast to a brunch, feeding a new coin pouch. Little bits of sausage.
The coin pouch or the potatoes, the burlap sack.
Coin pouch. I'm trying to befriend it.
Oh right, yes. Yes.
It's a bit bitey.
I
Yeah.
sit
It's
down.
like a little like kind of merce.
Yeah.
Like a coin. It's one of those where it has like the two spheres where they go that type of thing, where the rest of it is fabric, but only that like seal is the metal thing. Yeah.
Oscar sits down across the table. Are those teeth?
Yeah. I found one of those places we were supposed to find the curiosities.
Is that?
He had this. So
Does it rhyme with limerick?
no,
Is that thing alive? Is that what I think it is?
I mean no. It's it bites people that try to steal from it.
Okay.
But you gotta-
so magic stuff,
Yeah.
not like the toadstool guy.
You got to sort of imprint on it so it knows you're the one that's supposed to be reaching into it.
Might be useful.
At least that's what the man told me, so I'm trying to get there. I also found this potato sack that apparently makes 2 potatoes every day.
Pulls out a burlap sack.
Useful.
I don't know what else it does. I got some experimenting to do, but
Are you intending to lie?
no, I mean, I kind of know what it does, but I don't know for sure what it does.
Okay.
It might be able to steal things from locked containers.
Huh.
That's a very, very specific set of situations.
How would it do that?
You just dump it out.
Bass is drinking fresh water instead of salt water, so he's having difficulty.
You just dump it out and stolen stuff might come out?
Sometimes it takes things from locked containers. Sometimes it's potatoes.
Bag of sticky fingers?
Uh,
Irish bag of sticky fingers?
the guy that sold it to me
Wait a second.
had never dumped it out 3 times in one day, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Huh. Interesting. Well, speaking of curiosities, I guess I wouldn't flip the hood up because it would spill things everywhere. You may notice my new digs.
So,
I got this hoodie that stores things in the hood, infinitesimally small, or something. I don't know.
Osfer looks like if like Robin Hood was made in contemporary hipster style, with like a hoodie instead of like robes and stuff.
Oh, I figured I had the
there was
hoodie.
actually a show involved in that. It was like it was.
I
good.
figured I would have the hoodie on as the base layer, and then the robes would go on. So
Sure,
the hood
yeah,
is just-
whatever you want, whatever you want.
It's
But
like
it's like it's
tucked
probably like
underneath.
one of the first hoodies of this generation.
Yeah.
Not like a cloak, but just like you do have like the kangaroo pouch too. I
Yeah.
believe we talked about it. Yeah.
The best part is that you don't like the place where you store stuff in the hoodie is not the pouch. It's the hood. So just whatever you do, don't flip the hood open.
both of you roll insight checks for me.
we got some weird stuff.
That's great. I love it.
22.
18.
18. Yeah, I think both of you like. Did we both shop at Kohl's? Like, they were like, did we get our stuff at the same place?
Yeah. The
Colons, right?
yeah.
Oh, just why didn't I make that joke? I completely
Colon's
missed that joke.
Curiosities?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Colin's curious.
He has
But
some
yeah.
shitty stuff sometimes. But
Seems like he's got some weird stuff. But,
he does. I tried to help him open. It's like a treasure chest, but it's shaped like an orb, and it's got monk symbols all over it. And I was able to open the one from the open hoof symbol, but the other two I just don't know enough about, and it smarted quite a bit.
Speaking of which, as you're talking about this, Osford, you like kind of like pantomime, just absent-mindedly, and you notice that some of the like more surface visible veins that are among your like hand appear to have a type of black effect to them, like kind of almost not necessarily like infection as much as like a metastasizing.
Like the ichor?
Not quite. It would be more like your veins themselves were decaying.
Ah, like necrosis.
Yeah, and it kind of created that kind of bruising and blackness along the lines of where your veins would appear below the epidermis.
Okay, is this getting worse from when I hit the thing?
I don't think you quite noticed it. It's like a bruise where
Yeah.
like you do a bruise and then it's only until like 2 days later you actually can see it.
Okay.
That's probably
Just like the lingering effects of necrotic damage.
probably. Except like this is like
Not like I was cursed
Woof.
by trying to open this.
no.
Yeah, okay.
It seems like it was just it's like woof. Like this was no joke type of thing, and this is like usually I'm pretty. You think like you're pretty hardy,
Solid.
and this like
Yeah.
bypassed all of your resistances and was like, no, I'm gonna suck the life from you, and you're just gonna have to deal with the consequences.
Yeah, so it's maybe halfway open, but it would take adepts from the other two temples to open fully, but I don't know what's in there, and I kind of got a little bit of a bad vibe after I helped him. Just the cost that it requires to open this, and it was
Might
sealed
not
by
just be like an idle curiosity.
yeah.
Probably should leave that alone.
There's probably something in there that's best left alone. It's probably not something really cool. It's probably something really scary. So maybe we keep an eye on Colin. I asked him to let me take it with us to the temple, and he didn't want to let it out of his possession. So we should follow up on that when we get there. But other than that, I brewed some potions. I've got a potion of minor regeneration and greater healing. That might come in handy. And
I give you all the stats for that, right?
Mhm.
Okay, good.
yeah. Oh, and this glove that pours whiskey, and I pour it out, and
So it's like one of those theater gloves that goes past the elbow, and what is it? I
Opera
gave you
glove.
the name of it, right? It's an opera glove, yeah.
yes, but it's somewhere buried in my notes.
I think it's a glove of 5 fingers.
No, there was a lot more than 5 fingers. It was like it was a gratuitous amount of fingers.
Well, technically, it only has 5 fingers, but
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, yes.
What? I just wrote down glove of potions and liquid. I got some healing potions in here, and then one
we
other.
gotta call it the glove of 5 fingers. It's too fucking, yeah. But it's like how many hands high is something, and you're talking about like a horse. It's like kind of like a play on words, that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can store some potions in here, or basically any other liquid that we want. The guy was just using it as a really eccentric whiskey tumbler when I got it, but
Get it? Fingers? Get it? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Just want to make sure you guys like my joke. Okay, good. Laugh at my joke, please. Thank you.
5 fingers of whiskey, please.
5-finger exploding drink technique.
Yeah.
I paid my own visit to a temple for the first time, I think, in my travels. I don't think I'm welcome back there anymore.
Do they have a dress code policy? Or?
No, I sort of made a mess of the special pool. Then I went
Can you
to
explain?
then I went to the Roman bath.
If there's a reason why we're not allowed in a temple, I would like to know that
The steamy
before.
cauldron.
I went to the steamy cauldron and I messed up one of their pools too, and I'm feeling a whole lot better after these last couple of days. But kind of a couple of people have been frowning at me recently walking down the streets.
What temple did you deface? Just so we know going forward.
The one to the Tempest.
Okay.
So the one that would be appropriate for me.
Yeah.
Oscar, you can roll a religion check if you suppose.
I mean, I don't think Bass would lie.
No. This is just whether you know what he's talking about.
I think religion is negative. No, I have religion. 7. 25?
25. Yeah, I mean, what he's talking about, Tempest and stuff like that, probably like the Storm Lord, the Storm King, the Tempest as far as the also known as like the ravenous sky or the devouring swell, those types of things. There's an insurmountable amount of aliases that this thing is, but it has to do a lot to do with storms, and kind of makes sense for Bass to kind of be there just as far as like, but it's not just like sea storms, it's just all storms, whether they be land, sandstorms, like it doesn't matter what it is.
For as long as I've been working for a divine being, I've never done anything, overly ceremonial.
Yeah, you don't really pray for
I
someone
thought it was probably about time that I did something, only to have the Ica sort of make an appearance.
What?
Not like symbolically, I don't think it was really there. I'm not 100% sure, but
Sorry, just to be incredibly clear, you used a lot of knots in there. Was the Icar present at the temple?
Yes, but no. I don't think it was. I don't know.
Did it infect anybody?
No.
Was this a vision kind of thing?
It was something kind of thing. Like there was a.
You're freaking me out here, man. Do we have an issue?
You know what a hurricane is? Typhoon.
Do I know what a hurricane? I live pretty far inland.
I think actually,
And
I
I'm
don't
not
think
the
there's
most
a role
learned.
required. I think part of your monastic training would be like very in touch with the ways of nature. So I think that like as far as like the cycles of how like atmospheric things balance themselves and pressure would make sense. Yeah, I think you probably do.
Imagine like a symbolically, like a tiny one of those in like a symbolic religious pool, and in the middle of that storm, like stuff started bubbling from the bottom of the sea, and then lightning was fighting it, and wind and thunder, and
I wonder if this is trying to tell us that the Icar is in more places than just the Shailene Cradle.
it got sealed back up, so it didn't like no outbreaks in the city or nothing like that, but it was there,
Okay.
and they didn't appreciate that too much, so.
Yeah, I imagine they might not.
We're not going to go back down God's road anytime soon.
Just for reference, God's Road is one of the like main drags that has a lot of temples.
It's like the Temple District.
along it. Yeah, it's kind of like Temple District. Yeah, it's called God's Road. Yeah, and
Sounds like quite the adventure.
And then since I couldn't go there, I went to the baths, and I was floating around there one day and sort of like purged some of the stuff, some dark liquids. So they don't really like me too much either.
Dark liquids like from the depths of the sea or more Icar?
Similar, but not the same.
Is he being cagey or is he just failing to explain?
you tell me.
I don't.
Actually, why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you roll me either a persuasion or a deception check, but don't tell me which. And you can roll insight too.
They're the same.
Fuck.
It's a 27.
Yeah,
That makes
it's
it
not.
even better. The fact that they're the
16.
same. 16?
Yeah.
I mean, seems to be pretty straightforward with you.
So there's something funky going on with the person who I thought I was working for. Might not be the person I thought. But now that I'm actually praying to somebody, there's somebody answering back. So there's some confusing things going on with how my stuff works at the moment.
So, like, you pledged yourself to the God version of a used wagon salesman.
I made a strange deal, sort of like what you would call like a back alley deal for my initial powers, and that hasn't worked out so well for me. Like you've seen some of that.
Yeah, I've been privy to some of that.
But like
I got dragged into some of that.
trying to be more conscious of what I'm doing with it has seemed to have put me into connection with the person I thought I made the original deal with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I thought I made a deal with somebody, but it turned out to be not that somebody.
So,
But now I am in touch with that somebody, and I'm sort of.
how, are your powers
In
affected
limbo.
at all?
I mean, a little bit, but
Okay.
Not too worried about it at the moment. I think Tumon got a little bit of an upgrade.
Oh yeah. Could he talk now? Is he super sarcastic and annoying?
No,
No. Okay.
he got a
Sounds
little
like
bit of some special water.
Alex giving a dig on me.
During that whole like ceremonial symbolic thing, like the spirit of the oceans like actually touched him a little bit. So he's got some special stuff in him. I don't know what it does yet, but
Okay. Well, I guess we'll keep an eye out.
Nea, you are probably a wallflower, and probably more, almost literally an actual wallflower. You may be a shrub or a hedge at the moment, just kind of like chilling outside of the thing. It's entirely up to you, though. If you
Could be
wanted
like a
to be
pillar in the room that no one
it's
realizes.
pretty much my
is-
way of like I'm trying to give you an option to if you wanted
Yeah.
to be present to be present to be able to have listened to all of this, you could have.
like the ficus in the corner.
Yeah, sure, like the
Yeah.
ficus in the corner.
I think
A very robust ficus in the corner.
so. I
see
think
that.
Nea is probably just outside
Sure.
the tavern, but she has reached in through the window.
Oh,
and
like,
has
yeah.
and
Like
so
a wisteria vine.
right,
Sure.
and like one of her branches is like making a windowsill, and it's got like a little flower that's blooming on the windowsill.
like, listening through
but
the
she's
flower.
just listening through the flower, because she is too tall to go on into the room.
Yeah.
And I think
It's like it's kind of like the lobby. I
Yeah.
would say, unless you guys want to be talking about. Do you want to be talking about this?
well,
in
they
your
were having
room or-
brunch, right?
Yeah,
We're
which I
down in the
assume is happening
dining.
in the lobby area, right? Like, I mean,
The central common room.
like a
yeah,
table.
central. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Then I think, yeah, so I think Nea has been outside, and I think she will pull her branch back in and come in
Sure.
to find them, because she does have some things to share, and she needs to find something.
Can you just do me a favor real quick?
Yes.
Just so I know, because this is just going to help me, but both of you and I, kind of like role play your character a little bit more.
Yes.
What is your stealth bonus? Just so I know.
+3.
That's very surprising, given your weight and just how
Yes.
large you are. Absolutely, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that just has to do. I think that manifests more for you of just how you carry yourself.
Yes.
Or you kind of just more like
She blends into
sway,
things.
sashay,
Yeah.
and flow.
Yes.
and it's kind of float a little bit more.
I think that she, even though she has that incredible weight,
Yeah.
I think she balances it as she chooses. Which is why when she went into the bank and she was like, I'm done with this, that's why she cracked the tiles, because she was like,
She did it on purpose.
yeah, she was in her boss stomp mode, the catwalk.
Yeah,
Whereas right now
Yeah,
she's just sort of gently entering a space, trying
Sure.
not to draw too much attention.
Right.
As
So
she
anytime you could
comes.
go, girl boss, excuse me, I roll the world. I have
Yes.
big, like my hips don't lie.
Yes.
And, or
There's a drum track. For yes.
Like death by snooze type of drum track. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
For sure. And then there's just like kind of snowshoe style. You could spread out the roots of your
Yes.
feet to kind of disperse your weight per square inch. So it's not as
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So I think at this point she's pretty dispersed, and her roots are forming a gown around her as she sort of floats into
That's beautiful.
next to the table.
The fact that you actually like move, if you had, it was kind of like hoop skirt style.
Yes.
But the whole surface area of the hoop skirt is your
Roots and bark, yeah.
is your actual surface area of what you're putting. So the pounds per square inch is actually less than what they do. That's beautiful and brilliant. Love that, Rachel. Mwah, chef's kiss. Beautiful, great. So you can absolutely
So-
kind of glide in if you like.
Yes, so I think when Nea comes down and she has kind of overheard you talking about all the things you have found and procured, that reminds her she has something she needs to find. So she will come, and maybe when you showed us the hoodie, did anything fall out of your hoodie? that
No,
she could scoop
I
out?
made sure not to.
all
jingle
the way.
hood.
Okay.
There might be a potato on the floor.
Okay, so she will pick up the potato.
So here's the bag.
Yeah.
Potato.
So she'll pick up the potato and set it on the table. And I
I did
think,
empty out potatoes today.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you did that today?
Yeah,
On the table?
to show Osfer.
Just so you know, Adam, you have to keep track of that
I know.
because there's no fucking way I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep track of that. Sorry. Go ahead.
I think she will say, "Here's your potato," and send it back to you, and then say, "Well, I need to find some sweetgrass because I have promised someone several bags of sweetgrass, and when I was out and about, I've heard of a place that I need to go." There's someone there I need to meet. But I met some creatures out in the forest, and they need some sweetgrass, and I think they might be potential allies for us if we decide to move into the forest.
That could be useful.
Yes, so
The man-torn forest.
the man-torn forest, although they don't want to call it the man-torn forest. They just want to call it the torn forest, and there was some debate about whether it was a squirrel-torn forest or not. There was some indecision amongst the group.
So we're still waiting on Fade to come back.
Yes.
So we got some time to kill.
Yes.
We should check out that manor
Yes.
while we have some time. I think we can get down there and back in that amount of time, probably.
Maybe find your sweet grass along the way.
If we reference the map that I believe I have available to you guys, like technically, like it is probably a day's travel south if you like book it. If you like book it, like it's a day's travel south. Just because the continent is so large. But I don't want to get too bogged down in like how long it's going to take you to get somewhere. But it's probably like if you spent all of your energy for the rest of the day to really just be like, this is where we're going, and we're focused on just going right there and following the road that is parallel to the river to do so, you would probably be able to get there by the end of the day.
If we had mounts,
I think that's accounting for mounts.
Oh, okay.
If you didn't do mounts, it would be. I mean, is it not? Is it here somewhere?
This one?
Yeah. So if you look on the back, there is a scale.
I don't think the forest is on.
And that kind of gives you an
It
idea.
just says Hillsfarn to Fellwig.
Well, no. Streite de Helvig is 400
Yes.
miles, right?
420 miles.
It's 420 miles. So yeah, blaze it. So Streite de Felvig. If you see Felvig is
Oh yeah, on the
this is
map
even-
the forest
Yeah.
is
This is even older because
attached to the sea.
yeah. That's an old map. So sorry, guys. But I mean, like that's
Name-
still like
Can you
it's.
see it?
I still would probably say it would be over here, right here, the lower one right here, probably. All the way over there. I think it would probably be
the one
a day's
outside the
ride.
cradle. I'm thinking it's on there.
Yeah. Granted, I mean, you could book. You could
Oh yeah, it's in the
rent.
top right corner of the cradle. Map.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You could probably get mounts. You had days to get there, so I mean, that was a different thing. If you got mounts, it would be that's how long it would probably by the end of the day. I don't want to get too crunchy with it, but I also don't want to be inconsistent about stuff. But I'll say like if you guys got mounts, I would say like 2 gold per person would get you
Well-
out there. I would say if you would need to get a cart for her just because of how heavy she is, so you'd need to like get double Clydesdale cart because she's just too heavy.
I got a spell for that.
Perhaps yes, you do have fine steed if you want to use it. Yeah.
I would say before we go into the forest, though, we have to get some sweetgrass or some other treat
Is that
before we go in. Sweetgrass, I was told, is a delicacy.
Is that something we can like find on the way, or is that something that
I think it might be here somewhere in
We
the
need to
Actually,
city.
buy
Oscar,
here.
that's something that you probably would know about. Why
Yeah.
don't you go ahead and either roll me? Why don't you roll me a nature check? And I'm going to give you this advantage because this is like, like braiding sweetgrass, that type of thing. This is like very part of your culture with the monastic type of thing. So very primordial,
7.
primeval type of thing. At advantage, really?
Yep, I rolled a 3 and an 8. I have a negative modifier.
Oof. Yikes! Not what I was expecting. I think maybe during your training, you would probably more focus on your weapon training than the more cultural historic aspect of it. So as far as remembering where to find such things as like respected plants such as sweetgrass, maybe a little. But I would say that you do know that is the protectorate it's probably indigenous to the protectorate. That's probably, but the protectorate is hundreds of thousands of square miles. It is huge area. It is pretty much from the edges of the Shailene Cradle to parts of the Yakati's Breath to all the way down, almost close to the Lawamban Dominion, and then up all the way into the northern areas of where.
Yeah, but like this isn't something that we would. I guess I'm thinking like, where in the city would we buy this? Probably not the general goods store. Maybe the apothecary might know where to find specific plants.
Yeah, it's also something that's like, it is. Yeah, I mean, like asking somebody probably. It's also probably something that's more found within homesteads, farmsteads, just because of how much land they inhabit and whether it's an indigenous plant or not. Actually finding out which part of the biome within the protectorate is probably something that you didn't pay attention to.
Did we look around like that willow tree?
You could try.
So when I went to the forest, I met a pack of jackalwares. They are jackal werewolves.
Not jackal like Anubis, jackal like actual.
Yes. And
Jackalope is a
is
different thing.
no.
Jackalope
Yes.
is a bunny with antlers and a bunch of other things.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
That would be a really awesome were creature.
it is yes. There
It's a
are many.
jackrabbit with antlers.
Yeah.
pretty
There are
much, yeah.
many of the jackals in the
polite version
forest, and
How dare you?
they.
Rabbit with antlers.
Let Rachel finish, please.
So the jackals told me that there used to be a tree spirit similar to myself who took care of them who's gone missing. But she used to bring them treats, and it seems like if we want to go through the forest or get any assistance from any of the creatures in the forest, otherwise as interlopers, which is what they called me when I started talking to them, we need to appease them a little if we're going to try and get to the mansion.
That's interesting. You don't lope at all. So how would you... Maybe we'll come back to that. Okay, so grass.
I keep forgetting that Oscar has like a negative intelligence modifier.
Yep.
It's like sometimes you do such a great job of fucking role playing that because you're like, we don't lope at all. Like,
How could we be into
you surprise me every time. Just really good job, Alex. Thank you so much.
I mean, I also kind of wonder if, Oscar, if you and I show up there, we'll smell more like we belong.
Or, I don't know, that could go both ways. Maybe they're not a fan of having another pack, so to speak.
Oscar, you had a recent encounter recently.
Yeah, and speaking of, those aren't the only were creatures in these whereabouts. I ran into a were rat down in the sewers. Well, he came out of the sewers. I didn't go in the sewers. I don't go places like that. That's not in character for me. So he's been following me, I guess, through the sewers, and he's a member of the it's Nox, etc. that our friend narked on. So we had a whole thing, little tete-a-tete, get to know each other kind of.
Sniff
But-
each other's buttholes, type of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got real intimate. So maybe we can call on him if we come back, but it seems that there's.
looked at Noel's face and I completely fell out of character.
I was under the impression that when we first were changed, that it was that werewolves were the only were creatures, but it seems like this is quite a lot more than just that, which is interesting because that's all wrapped up in Darkor and what happened when he. Oh, did I tell you guys about this? When we were like way in the past? So I slept, well, I was in stasis for
Yeah, Rachel, I did the same double take as you did.
several hundred years, as monks do, inside
Naya,
of
some
inside of a box.
things we probably haven't talked to you about. To start off, Asfa and I both have a little bit of a lycanthropy.
Just a touch.
I have a question. This is just for Naya. Like, does Naya like keep a record? Does she like record when she's taking care of
Weird shit counter. Just ding, 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 ding.
I think
She like grow bark with like certain notches in it, like a vinyl to like or like something like that. What?
well,
Sorry, my
so
brain goes everywhere.
I mean, trees record the history of their lives in their rings.
Yeah, sure.
And so I think maybe there's like, as she's going along and she's growing and whatever, like just like when you notice there's a lack of water or too much, like I feel like maybe there's like a little knothole of like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, emotional.
An emotional
Like a
response.
vinyl record. You
Nice.
Yeah,
keep,
like a groove.
Do you think this would be something that probably only another, like, Arbent or other like plant-like being would be able to discern, or someone like at least studied in those types of things would be able to discern, or do you think it's a little more obvious than that, or do you think it's more like Fey origin?
I think so. I think the internal record. I think the only way you would find it is if you cut her open, the way you would with a tree ring.
That's what I meant.
But
yeah.
I think that like because every now and then like outside stimulus can make trees like believe they're in the wrong season, or like so like a little
yeah.
flower of confusion pops, or like
Talking
like
about Bristol and kinds will go.
yeah. So I think there's that moment of like she like shakes off some lichen or some moss or something, and it's
Sure.
like
it's like
like
nervous eczema.
nervous
type of thing.
eczema where she's
yeah.
just like flaking at her tree bark and is like,
Beautiful.
what have I gotten
Beautiful.
into?
Just because I just know Rachel's always taking notes, so I'm just like.
What are
So
these
it's just
notes?
like
Yeah.
Naya, just like scratching at her
could
bark
spin
and
it
pulling
like-
off lichen.
You could spin it like the rings, like what's inscribed on the rings. You can read it. It's like your mind palace where you like, let me go read that shit.
It's a different dialect of like primordial or Sylvan or something like that. Yeah.
like a plant version. Of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think also
Like
the
Philonic.
I think there are certain times that like just like with a honeybee, what they ingest changes the flavor of the nectar.
And then
which,
they dance differently.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so like I think it's the same like taking in all of this group is werewolves. Great. What does that mean?
Quick
Well,
aside,
just-
I object to characterizing me and this were-rat as intimate friends just because we smelled each other's buttholes.
Are you reading her notes?
It's merely acquaintances.
Oh my god.
Intimate acquaintances.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
We
So,
also
There's, I guess, a lot of stuff you don't know about us.
There was also some time travel involved.
we also spoke about how like what you know about were creatures.
Yes.
I believe. Yes.
Yes.
yeah.
So I
So Asfa and I have both been very far in the future and very, very far in the past.
Basically, if you go to the Feymores, it's nigh on impossible to get back to where you were in time.
Time-wise.
So there was some fun time adventures to be had. I don't know. We lost a good amount of folks there, so we don't talk about it too much. But needless to say,
There's one still in the Feymores. There's like 3 still in the future somewhere. I died in the like ancient times. It's a whole thing.
yeah. So I guess what I was saying was the patriarch of the pack, of which we were bitten, only became that way because he failed to protect the world from a new like pantheon invading, if I recall correctly. We actually met him one time. He's a pretty cool dude. But I guess that means that there might be more of that, or Dark Horse up to some really weird shit. But he seems super preoccupied, so I'm thinking it's probably not that. I'm thinking it's probably other spin-offs of that clash when the new gods came in and the Ichor came in and all of that. So I guess, yeah, just a lot to be aware of.
Okay.
But we don't bite.
Just filling in some background there for you while he.
Well, I don't think a tree really can suffer from lycanthropy. So it's not personal consideration. I mean, I've never heard of a were
I
tree.
have this like head canon where rather than sitting
We
down in
knew,
a chair because you knew it would break, you just kind of like grow a chair under you, and you're just like, okay, and you go across your legs. Yeah.
We knew a guy who kind of was a vampire, but not really.
Oh, yeah.
And then he became a plant person like you. And he still drank blood, but I don't think he was undead anymore. I don't know. You just don't be so sure that you're immune to things.
Nay,
just 'cause
would you
you're a
like to
plant.
roll an Arcana or a Nature check? for me?
True.
Yes.
But he was a vampire before, so
Yeah.
maybe that's...
Well, I don't even know if he was a real vampire, like a full vampire.
He
He
drank
just
my
had
blood, that counts in my book.
some vampiric
13.
tendencies.
13.
He could also walk around during the day.
Yeah, that's true.
That's tough. That's a really tough one for me. You need your fidget spinner. That's a really tough one for me. I'm gonna say. You're aware of were creatures and vampires and the animosity between the two, but it's not like a lot of other lore that we learn when it comes to. There you go, buddy.
I mean, if you don't want it, I'll take it.
When I don't want him to fall into that pit of that trap of like, oh, it's just like, werewolves hate vampires hate werewolves. It's just like, it's a, conflict among time. It's forever, whatever, blah, blah. It's not like that. It's not what that is. It just happened to be probably more cultural and historic situations of what they were pit against each other, and a little bit more along the lines of like Hattonfield and McCoy type of thing, rather than it was their nature. Now, all that is also still extremely vague to you. With a 13, I would say plant, vampire does not really compute for you, except for the fact that, well, I mean, I guess almost all plants are technically, at least, like, if we really wanted to like come to the dictionary definition of vampire, taking the nutrients from another being, as far as whether that be soil or like mycelial network,
But then, like, we're all-
compost or whatever, and technically that is everything. However, as an Arbent yourself, that you can
Hashtag we're all
absolutely put your roots into another living, like even humanoid creature, and get sustenance from them.
We all steal energy from something else.
Okay. So, since we're talking about sort of how people acquire blood, I have a soil sample I need you to look at.
Okay.
So I collected this from the farmland to the north, and it's very tasty. But I think it's because it has too much iron. And I don't think it's naturally occurring iron.
Like
I
a
think
battery.
it is from blood, but I don't know whose blood. But it is the richest soil I have tasted outside the cradle.
That would be a lot of blood to make large
I mean, it has
patches
saturated
of
the
soil.
farmland.
I've shared the map of Strita with you, right? There's this whole quarter that is the whole, like a quarter of the city is farmland. And that's specifically made that way in order to, should they ever suffer a siege, be able to pretty much feed their entire population for hundreds of years and be entirely self-sustaining. They are a perfection of a walled city. It's one of the reasons why during the, well, I mean, you don't know how many walls were built during this time, but one of the reasons why during the ancient Elven Solendian Empire, this city did not fall. And the whole saying of like the walls have never been penetrated of Strita, even after the name change.
Is that the outer portion of the churned quarter?
The churned quarter is technically like the tilled soil of the farmland. So yes, it would be the
That's
outer-
also where the temples are.
yeah. That's like
So like the outer ring of it. Is
that's
where
like
the
hundreds of
farmland
square
is.
miles
Oh.
of farmland.
That's interesting.
I'm sorry. What did you say? What was the last bit you said?
So the
temples.
farmland would more be like the outer portion of that.
Yes, yes.
'Cause-
It would be like the exterior of the God's roads on until the
Okay.
outer wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
The outer 2/3 of
Mm-hmm.
it.
You're saying like all that area
So-
at one time was just soaked in blood?
I mean, it also could be something super powerful blood there.
Yeah. So when I went out, I needed to be more in the nature and the dirt and, rest a little, have a little snack. And
I imagine Elias's blood would taste super delicious to somebody like her.
Do you know Elias?
Yeah, he
Oh,
met
yeah,
her.
yeah. I'm sorry. I was thinking Emrys. Sorry. I made too many E names. Go ahead.
so when I went out there, I walked through a field and I just put my roots down for a moment. And I was struck by how much iron was in this soil. And it didn't taste like mineral iron, it tasted like other kinds of iron. So
Do you have
I-
any way of knowing maybe how long ago that was deposited?
No,
have a sample?
I have the sample. I was hoping you might be able to help me with that.
I can try.
Okay.
But wouldn't it be? Well, I guess my question is, how deep does the iron go?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Could you
well,
take us back there?
I
Oh,
think that you spread your roots as deep as they usually go, and it was consistent throughout. Which to you, knowing how sediment grows, like, that's fucking deep.
yes.
that's
I mean,
like
it
a
wasn't just on the
lot.
surface. It was.
and not in just like a particular stratification in there. It's the whole thing. Do you have any idea if it was?
I mean, you didn't go like 30 feet down, but I mean, like,
Still, that's a
Exactly.
large area of topsoil.
Yes.
Was it concentrated in maybe like much more near the top and it leached down, or was it relatively uniform?
Yes, throughout.
How?
But I didn't. There was a very anxious farmer who did not want me to trample his field. And so it was dark, and so, but I scooped a little, and then I retreated back into the tree lines.
Well, let's
But there is some.
take a look at it real quick.
Okay.
So I give Osfer the vial of soil to look
do you
at.
want to try to examine it?
Yeah.
What are you doing to examine it, Oscar, specifically?
So I don't know if I have any way of doing this, but I'd be curious to know if, like, this was deposited through mundane or magical means.
Okay.
Like,
So are you trying to examine it via alchemical means or for your like sensory perceptive means?
sensory perceptive first, and then alchemical.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and roll, because this is scent based,
Uh-huh.
I would assume. Why don't you go ahead and roll perception at advantage?
Can
Okay.
I also
Well, that's a 1.
see if
so
I
get to
catch a
reroll.
scent
Yeah.
that I recognize?
Hey,
fine.
that's even better. Perception, you said? That's
Yeah.
a 21.
21?
25.
25? I think what you pick up, Osfer, is that
Is by my lucky die.
this is all from. Actually, I think what you is that this is a protracted. This is blood, as it were, iron, which is what like kind of remains more in soil when blood would be bleed. It's like that metallic iron smell is what comes from it mostly. That is. It's really hard to pick a time period when it comes down to this because it feels protracted.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
it would have to be consistently deposited over hundreds of years to be that deep and uniform.
That's the kind of sense you're feeling.
Yeah.
Like something was like, whether it be a tradition or it be something that's done like I mean, you don't know, but there's definitely something about the soil here has been consistently for quite a while, for a very long time, been not necessarily saturated, but treated with blood. So you definitely sense the blood of probably many, many generations. I think Bast, as the sample is passed over you while you're thinking about this, you get a little bit of a more fine-tuned thing and realize like what type of blood this is.
That was more what I was.
Yeah,
creature
and
type.
this is all human blood, pure human blood. No other species whatsoever. There's not even a hint of any other species. All absolutely pure human blood.
Can I blend in a divine sense to see if there's
Yeah,
anything
you wanna pop one?
funky about it?
Sure.
Celestial, fiend, undead, or if it's just like mundane,
That's a really good question.
bleeding out the corpses and spraying it like fertilizer.
Blood for
TJ,
the
you
blood
dug yourself a
god.
hole.
Blood for the blood god.
Okay. Sorry, just give me one moment as I try to think of how I'm going to resolve this.
I do tip out the sack.
Oh, the second time today? Do you have any locked?
Are we in like a bench?
That's up to you. What, do you guys still want to be in the...
Yeah.
Adam, make my life a little easier here. There's
We're
a lot of
still at
stuff
the
I'm trying to
end.
keep track of here.
So like we're at a
Table at
at a table.
tavern.
Do you have any lock stuff? Did you lock the dude?
No.
Okay. Did
So
any
like
of you else have
between
locked things?
between Osfer and I, I'm
Lock
like
things?
Do any of you have locked containers on you? Whether that be like a lockbox or what have you?
No.
No.
Okay.
so between Osfer
you
and
do.
I on the little bench. I'm just
Do you have a locked container on you?
no
No?
within 30 feet of me.
How close are you to the lockbox of the tavern?
You don't know. You don't know what it is. Nothing comes out of the sack.
Sorry.
Okay. So you said it's all human.
Yep.
What was I talking about? Sorry, you interrupted me.
Is there anything divine about it?
Correct. You were trying to do your divine sense.
I mean, specifically, it's celestial, fiend, undead.
This
and
is
it doesn't
actually-
really work this way, but
You're right, but this is super interesting. I want you to roll a
it's sort of like a detect good and evil type thing.
roll an insight check with advantage for me, because this is also because of what you're attached to when it comes to deific and all that other type of stuff.
Insight
Yeah,
23.
23. So you're searching for deity, not just
yeah.
like I understand creature type
Anything
of like
greater
Yeah.
going on here?
other higher power.
Yes.
And because of like how you associate higher power,
Yeah.
a lot of your tie to higher power is like primeval and elemental. And you absolutely sense that here. Not only do you sense that here, you sense that with like vigor. As far as you sense staunch, hard, firm constitution, aspects of earth,
Gotcha.
like almost like what did you get? 24?
23 on the insight.
23. With your kind of patron slash deity or whatever being more elementally based as far as like water is concerned, how water mixes with sand and soil to become mud, like you sense the tie of just a different aspect, a different corner of elemental as far as like earth, a different corner as far as the sucker of the living in order to fund the sliver of what would be earth.
This is like
Maybe not sacrificial,
yeah, like
because
ritual.
it's consistent.
ritualistic, kind of like.
It's also like how much blood it would take to saturate this type of how many acres, like an exorbitant amount of acres would be.
It was done sort
way
of
too many
in the
fucking
name
people.
of Earth. It wasn't just blood thrown in a field.
That's the interesting thing is like this much blood that you're trying to recognize and realizing how much land there is here. There's no way this would go unnoticed, but it has. Meaning either the people that it was harvested from didn't die and were unaware of it, or they're really good at covering up murders.
So, you said something that made me think for a moment. If this land is right near the row of the houses, Or the
God's realm?
temples?
Yeah.
Yes. Are any of those temples doing blood sacrifices? Because that would be a source of this much blood.
I think Nea probably knows more about more of the primeval, primordial, that type of thing when it comes to that than they do more of the Virgin Pantheon. And the God's Road caters to more of the Virgin Pantheon because technically the Virgin Pantheon destroyed the primordials and primordials, and they have technically been in all other aspects other than actually legally outlawed, because they're not technically actually outlawed, but they have this big stigma attached to them because
They've been
of
pushed out.
propaganda and a bunch of other things. Yeah. So as far as like the God roads and those types of, I don't think Nea would know a whole lot about that.
Okay.
I don't like. I would love to give you a religion check, but I just don't think there would be any reason for you to know about a lot of the Virgin Pantheon because Awoja wouldn't actually recognize the Virgin Pantheon. As she says that, though, I suppose both of you.
Oscar
could.
would. He's trained in
Oscar
religion.
Oscar, I probably would be the most among you too, though. Also, Bast.
I just walked down there the other day. Did
That's
I
true.
see any bloodletting going on?
Go ahead and roll a religion check. Yeah,
Same, I'm guessing.
yeah, you can do so. You too.
Fuck.
It's only 10.
10.
Yeah, I mean, blood, as far as you understand, is like just a form of sacrifice or a form of devotion. As far as like, I give you a piece of me, and therefore to give you sustenance or whatever, that type of thing. But that is so prevalent in so many cultures and so many rituals and so many ceremonies. As far as trying to nail down what specifically that ties to, there's actually thousands of things that they could be tied to. Like thousands of different cultures and nuances that it could be tied to.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
this seems like weird dirt, but
a lot of humans gave blood, and they're either real good at covering it up, or this is just something that they do every once in a while without killing people.
I guess we'll stick that in our
I
back
think what
pocket.
probably bugs Bast the most. I'm so sorry. Please continue.
I think we'll probably stick that in our back pocket and keep an eye out for any covert ritual sacrifices in the farms.
I mean, it
Heavy
pays
iron.
it pays homage to the spirit of the earth. So I mean, they're doing something good. Probably
Yeah.
makes the crops grow fast.
I
And
mean, it is some
Blood
of the
meal.
best dirt I've ever seen.
And if we can, well, I mean,
mean,
if it's
there's-
that old and,
There's a spiritual aspect to it.
you know, linked to, you know, we can run it past the monks when we get to our temple. Maybe they know something about bloodletting on crop fields, but
I think what bugs Bast the most about this is if blood was like the water of civilization, and like kind of like the water of life, like it's a lot. The way she's explaining it, at the very least, and she's doing a very good job explaining it. That's a lot of fucking blood. That's like
industrial
several
amounts.
civilizations worth of blood. And to feed something off of that would be
So, yes, it would probably bug me, but at the same time, we saw that ancient elven sacrifice site. Like, this isn't the first blood sacrifice.
true. That was also one room. We're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
but it was still
hundreds of
thousands
acres.
of elves
Correct,
that
yes.
died there.
Correct. Yeah.
And this will, like, if I've heard any of the history, like, there were battles fought for protracted periods of time.
Correct. But we
Outside
also
the
know
walls.
about the history of that the walls were never penetrated.
But where was it, the old walls or the current walls?
Very good point. You don't know.
Is that just where the old battles took place and they built the walls out around it and now they're growing crops on
I don't
the
think
old-
Bass would have any.
I know,
fucking
I
clue.
know.
But yes, that's a very good point. Yes, I don't think
That's where my logic is going.
I don't think Bast himself would have any fucking clue of that because he doesn't know a whole lot about land or history. But that that is a very good
A lot of
point.
people died there. A lot of blood is still being spread on that area. in some sort of a spiritually connected fashion.
As you guys talk, like you're not quite sure why. Like you are 100% sure that almost all, if not absolutely, and I mean absolutely, all of this blood that is in all of these hundreds, if not thousands of acres of farmland is all human. No other race, but human.
Mhm.
Which I think is like, it's just, it's one of those things where like,
It's weird.
why just human? Like,
This
If it
city's
was
pretty
the other way
cosmopolitan.
around, I would have been like, that's why they purged all the people from the city. But it's all human. This seems like deliberate.
and also like Nea, you notice like this is still happening. Like there's still fresh iron
Yeah.
in the soil.
Yeah, this seems like maybe a deliberate like blood donation, make our crops be better, give a pint, save a. I don't know.
Give a pint,
Feed a
give a
field.
pint, give a pint, take a pint.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, so we need to find some sweetgrass.
Yep.
Yes.
We need to make our way towards the forest,
Yes.
and we need to get back before Fade causes any chaos.
Yes.
I don't know if that's gonna be
There's-
possible. It may have already started.
So, just for the sake of time, is your intent to go south?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll say if you guys want to keep an eye out for sweetgrass, why don't you guys go ahead and roll a nature check for me to see if you can understand the environment in which sweetgrass could grow, and then find a way to.
I was gonna ask, would this not be survival? If we're like looking for stuff on our way.
It can be if you want.
That
I
would
would say if you would prefer it to be for survival for you, I would
Yeah.
allow it. It's just more of just like knowing about sweetgrass and knowing where to look. But yeah, I suppose survival could also apply.
19.
19. I suppose that would be for you that survival could also apply.
16.
16,
18.
18. I think you guys, honestly, as though it may seem more perceptive, I think because of the two like individuals within you, as you describing what it smells like, and you guys are a little bit more aware of what it is, I think you smell it before you actually see it or feel it or know where it's going to grow. And I think you go a couple miles out of the way because of how parts per million scent can sometimes be. And sweetgrass is a very potent smell. What's up?
With these smells, I would also be keeping a smell out for mushrooms. I don't know if they grow in this area.
I love how you're always looking out for mushrooms, Alex.
I gotta have my reagents, man. Gotta have my mats.
Is there a specific type of fungi you are looking for, or are you just going to pick every mushroom that you walk upon?
I mean, at this point, I'm pretty familiar with what makes healing potions. So
Okay,
that-
so you're looking for medicinal
Yes.
fungi. Okay, so I'll say that would be additional nature check, because that's going to be the difference of understanding what is and what isn't, what's poisonous and what's not. It's technically also medicine, but I want to try to
that's an 8.
an 8. I would say, I think the scent of sweetgrass, once you actually come across it, is quite overwhelming, and it makes it kind of like tunnel vision as far as this is what I'm focusing on now. You are able to find some sweetgrass.
Okay.
I feel very inadequate I feel very ashamed that I actually don't know the biome or type of environment in which sweetgrass grows, but you are able.
Marsh.
Probably just be like a prairie.
Is it a
Yeah,
prairie
I
or
don't
is it
know
more
what's
riparian?
sweetgrass.
I feel like it's marshy.
Is it riparian? That would be like right next to a river type of thing. Why do I not know this? I feel so ashamed. Oh, I'm doing my ancestors very, very, very badly right now. But as I will stall for time while you guys look up what's up.
Gulf
Middle
Coast.
range of a habitat between dune and salt marsh ecosystems.
Salt marsh and dune. Okay.
Middle range of habitat.
I think so. This would probably be, yeah. You know, ooh.
It's a Gulf Coast or Southern Atlantic. So it's like a Florida habitat.
It would make sense for you guys to
Congress.
get south of the Mantorn, closer to Solis, for you to do that, because that's where the marshes are, and that's where the Maudlin Swamp is. So that would make a lot of sense. I'll say, did you guys book passage with mounts. Did you guys rent mounts? Okay. So just make sure you take that out. I'll say 2 gold per person. Go ahead and take it out. I will say you have to do 2 gold per you and you, because you guys both have to rent Clydesdales in order to
thought he
also then
didn't.
rent 10 gold for a wagon in order to have her, because she's too big for any type of horse.
I thought he could summon a.
Can I find steed?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, you may if you like. You summon a magical steed. What's your magical steed look like? What happens when you summon this?
Oh,
I don't know what's happening.
Tauntaun-ish?
A what?
Tauntaun?
Oh, tauntaun is? I
But
think you
like
said
seahorse.
prawn-ish, and I'm like, okay.
Like seahorse with like
With
legs.
limbs.
Yeah.
Sure. Land horse?
Yes.
So, but seahorse, but land horse.
Correct.
I hate this. I love this. I love this at the same time. So you summon a land horse that's like,
It's nightmarish.
Yes.
okay, and it just has a tongue that goes like a butterfly tongue, or like a, sure. What, I'm sorry. What is it you wanted to
Well,
do? Because
would
this
that
is
be a
absolutely
shore
insane.
As an- as another paladin, can I summon a steed?
Yeah. Yes, you can. What do you want to summon? We didn't talk about this but there are creatures within the Shailene Credo that are like kind of made out of plant material, like kind of like root rhinos and stuff like that.
Then I'll go root rhino.
I mean, like perhaps a root rhino would be a little bit much, but you could set like a root antelope or something like that. Kind of like Spirit of the Forest
Bison.
when it comes to like Hayao Miyazaki type of style, but made out of like plant material.
Okay, then I want to go bison because I think it's big enough to actually.
Like, you made me cry. I love that. Oh,
I think it's big
you go
enough.
full plant Tatanka.
Yes.
I think it's great. So you're like, hey, I made something for you.
So
And it's a land horse shaped like a seahorse. And it doesn't, it's like, it's got T-Rex front limbs, so it doesn't look, it's gonna, I don't think you're as like understanding of land physics yet. So
Right.
you think this is gonna work. It'll
Yeah,
be fine.
correct.
Yeah. And it doesn't work.
I think Naya takes one look at it and says, "I think that is your steed," and then I summon my Tatanka.
It's kind of like flopping because it can't like it's vertical, right? Because it doesn't need 3 dimensions as much. Like it doesn't need 2 dimensions as much, so it doesn't need balance on either side.
Okay.
So it's far more like this. So it falls over fast and it just kind of flops.
let's try this one more time.
Well, then my question there is, if these animals are that large, could I just like ride on the back of one of them without?
As a halfling,
I'm not
I
very.
don't see why
I'm
not.
40 pounds.
Yeah,
That's not like.
yeah.
a-
If you want to save some money, I don't see why not. Yeah.
Don't I have to like pick him up and put him on my shoulder? Just
If
as
that's what
halfling
you
and
want.
tree person, it's sort of like
Entirely up to
just
you.
natural. Yeah, I scoop you up and put you in the branch. Yes. And then we ride on the giant.
Sure. Oh, what are
Plant
you doing,
Tatanka.
Baz?
I'll summon an actual steed this
Sure.
time.
Okay.
But so like
They took you past the stables and you were like, "What the fuck is that?" They're
They
like,
come-
"It's a horse." I'm like, "I've seen a horse. That's not what
the
they look
spell
like."
summons like a familiar style, like it's flavored in some fashion. It's like a celestial steed or a.
I know
demonic
what the
steed.
spell is, Adam. What do you want?
Mine's aquatic,
Okay.
It's like a horse, but the mane.
So
is,
you want like a
but the mane is
hippocampus.
water.
like Pirates of the Caribbean, like without the undead part of it, but like. Yeah, it's got
It's a
like
hippocampus.
coral.
So a hippocampus is basically a horse that just has a dolphin tail.
Yes.
But you want it like kind of the dolphin tail minimized and just have 4 legs.
Thinking like elk with like coral
Ah,
antlers
okay.
and like
Okay, cool.
more like sealy type skin instead of
So
fur.
do mark off the fact that you used it twice.
Sea elk.
Sure. But yeah, you do this and like this didn't work.
Yeah.
I'm very upset that it didn't work. I thought it was gonna work. And you're like, okay, I see the problem. And then you summon it again, and you pull like a coral type of
Yes.
elk
Correct.
thing out. Sure.
So the first time it was
then-
with a
That's
packed
such a-
spell slot and
oh.
it just failed.
Yeah.
So then I used
just-
one of my paladin spell slots and it
Kill me.
It's a Cronenberg nightmare.
Yeah. I
so-
think the second one, I think you do. It's actually beautiful. I love the coral. Yeah. I think it's gorgeous. Yeah.
For planning
Well
purposes, since we shouldn't be going,
Sorry.
since we shouldn't be going into the forest without the sweetgrass, and sweetgrass is on the south end.
You're gonna have to like
Would we have to-
circumvent
yeah,
the
we'd have to
Mantorn.
go around and then
Yeah.
come. Okay.
I also think with these mounts, I would give you the benefit of the doubt. I would say like a day and a half. I'm really giving you the benefit of the doubt here because it should be a lot longer than that, but I don't want to stretch this any more than it has to, and I just want to keep moving. So it's fine. You guys can circumvent it, but the closer you get to Solis and the Maudlin Swamp and that marshes area, the more chance you have of finding the sweetgrass. So yes, you could do so, and then just kind of go up the butthole of the Mantorn Forest.
Is that a technical term?
Noel and I call the butthole when we go out of the south end of our development. So, I mean, it started as a thing when we first moved in here, and I was like, oh, we go out the butthole, and Noel was like, stop, don't call it that.
I know three different
and now
ways.
it's too bad.
I know 3 different ways into your subdivision. So there's
It's a lot of holes.
Adam, are you coming on to me? What's happening here? I know 3 different ways into
No,
your
I've-
subdivision.
yes.
Say that when you go into a brothel next time,
So-
see what happens.
Never mind.
I think he was trying to
So you summoned
clarify.
a creature that wanted death,
which
and
was
then
the
you're like,
butthole.
I know 3 different ways into your subdivision. Noel, are you okay?
I think Adam was merely trying to clarify which one of those was the butthole.
Yeah, I don't know. That was
It's the one that goes into was
versus
it
the other
Piccadilly?
holes.
the really close
Hampton?
one.
No, the one that goes to where you can see the mountains first. It goes down, and then there's those 2 separation. Not the one that goes on to. I'll show you later. This is stupid. So you summon a viable steed with like coral antlers.
Correct amount of cross.
Yeah. It's cool because like its shoulders have like anemones on it and stuff, and it still seems to like sway as though we're in water, but it's not actually in water. Yeah, it's really nice.
Cool.
So you summon like kind of a coral elk. You summon a
Plant bison
a
Tatanka.
plant bison, which is oh god, I can't wait to make that mini so hard. Yes, you guys end up in the southern part of the Mantorn Forest. You, again, what?
Is this a good time to take a break?
We're getting there. Don't. I was just about to do it. God damn it! I was hoping you weren't going to say that. God damn it! And we're just about to do it.
It means we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, but I don't want to take your agency away, but I think this would probably make sense for Nea to be like, hold on, because this place is very defensive. Let me be like,
Yeah.
why don't you go ahead and roll either a nature or an animal handling check, as you just notice it's a hostile fucking environment. It is, just by nature.
I got a nat 20, so it's a 23.
Nice. Okay, so I think you see the rustling, and you probably see like a boar that's 3 times the size of the boar you saw before, and they just kind of. And they're just gonna continues to go off. Notice you guys, but didn't seem to have a beef with you. And you can continue through. With Nea's guidance and knowing where things are, every once in a while you do the whole toff, like spread your roots into to kind of get the idea of what surrounding is. You can quite decently find your way where it is. And also, you knew that the manor was adjacent, if not close, to the river, as for a water source.
I got a thing for this.
You have a thing
I
for this.
pull out the horse medallion.
You do. Granted, finding the river is the easiest thing in the world because you were following it the whole time. But it also means that you won't be able to lose the river unless there's a closer potable water source, like a well. So you do eventually, you continue. I think you guys defer to Nea. You say Nea every once in a while, kind of stop you and just kind of listen. And correct me if I'm wrong, obviously, please, again, don't want to take your agency away, but I think there's like moments where you're like, please step lighter. Like, kind of like, just try not to do this type of thing. Like, can you go ahead?
I think there's a moment where she takes one of her blossoms and she rubs it a little in her hands and then she puts it on her palm and blows it. Because I remember when I had my conversation with the jackalope that he said how nice it smelled. And I know that they because they
Soothing.
know my sister. They are familiar with that smell a little bit, just to sort of waft it out, and it's like, oh, a tree we know is coming.
I feel like Bast and I would be on pretty high alert for smells.
That makes sense. You definitely feel you're usually in the predator mindset most of the time, especially given your persuasion. You definitely feel like prey for every step you walk through this thing, for sure. Which I think just inherently puts both of you on edge. But Nea, you feel more like the other part of the food chain that's just like, no, I'm just here, and I'm supposed to be here.
But one thing I do want remember as we're walking kind of past the river is that they warned me about the big fish in the river.
Mm-hmm.
And so I turn to Bast and say, so I was told by the jackalwares that they've noticed an increase of large fish that have been swallowing people. And it made me think about the day I met you.
Yeah.
And I just want us to be careful, especially as we're further down the river.
It was the first time I almost died, actually. It was
What? You've actually
No, you
died.
actually died. Before.
no, the first time I almost died was
Instead
getting
of-
swallowed by a big fish.
Instead of actually.
Oh, in session 0? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It happens all the time. I mean,
There's always a bigger fish.
there's always a big fish.
Well, they've noticed very big fish coming lately.
I mean, it's a little odd for a river like that, but
Well, it was odd for me to see you in a fish the first day I met you.
he's not so much like a normal fish. He's a weird, fishy thing.
Fuck you. You hear in the back of your head. Or you imagine. Cool. So you, for, all intents and purposes, you eventually find yourself within a very thick thicket. And this type of thicket, it seems to, kind of like nature has purposely tried to grow over man-made construction. You do sense, like, at one point there was some, not paved, but there was some sort of cleared way from the river to a little bit more in an eastern way, and you're able to follow that as like Wisteria has like purposely kind of like grabbed onto it, like pull it down, and all these like other moss, and you eventually follow this like kind of fallen walls with cold iron. I mean the temperature, like just like spikes, not actual cold iron, of fences and like crumbling types of things, and you eventually find your way to the vista of being able to see this not quite dilapidated but well on its way to become dilapidated, very large, quite large manor. It does look like it has like a bell tower in the top that does pierce the canopy of the forest. Kind of have a old terracotta / red hue to some of the shingles, different cobbled stone of different colors, probably a lot of river boulders and stones that were collected nearby in order to build this place, which definitely is like they took a lot from nature around here to build this thing. This was definitely built from the surrounding materials, absolutely. The door itself looks vined shut, like just the nature, the source of like post-apocalyptic nature reclamation couldn't apply better to this type of this domicile. It is very large, quite large. It also looks like it has a subterranean level as well, like it has a foundation that goes down there, and you can tell, but just kind of like because of the heaving of the earth there. And you guys have advantage on hearing as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you please go roll perception checks for me?
Frank Lloyd Wright. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yes.
Very Frank Lloyd Wright.
Kind of, yeah.
14.
If Frank
It's
Lloyd
like
Wright was in the
built
medieval,
around
yeah.
nature instead of.
I think if Frank Lloyd Wright was in the medieval era, yeah, that's kind of what it could look like. If I could print out modern type of architecture, then yeah, that's sure.
Perception? What was
Yeah.
it?
Perception at advantage
Okay.
because
14.
of hearing, because of lycanthropy.
30-20.
14.
14. I'll say, Osfer, you know when sometimes your ears just start ringing out of nowhere and like all other sounds just like beep, and they just die out and you start hearing ring. What's up?
That's you losing a chunk of your.
Yep, losing an actual, it hurts. Yep, it's you losing a frequency of your hearing. It just stops. So you lose a certain hertz of frequency of you being able to hear. Yes, I know. As a music teacher, yes, I'm well aware. And every time it happens, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm very, very mad. But you kind of get that sense, but it's more of a. It's like that, but it's consistent. It doesn't like go down, and so it sounds like the old cathode ray tube TVs where you always know that they're like, I know the TV's on, even though it's black and there's no way visually you would be able to tell it's on. You can like somehow hear it.
There's a hum.
That type of thing. It's kind of like a hum or like a type of thing, but it's so submersive. Yeah. It's so subliminal that it's hard to tell, but you guys can hear it, and you guys can hear it consistently, and it annoys the fuck out of you guys. It is damn nigh painful. Which, since she described like the jackalwares being bothered by this area, like this makes sense. Like something about this place is constantly giving a energy or a sound of something that's like really bothering the local wildlife. You don't know what that sound is. I mean, obviously it's not a TV, but it's like there's something about it. Also is like it's super consistent as in by its, how do I say this, by its magnitude, but its amplitude as far as like its pitch, sometimes it wavers and quavers, it moves around. Like it's still, there's no pattern to it, meaning like it's something maybe, I don't want to say organic, but
Volume, it's steady, but it's like somebody's spinning the radio dial, and it's just
maybe it seems the pitch or the amplitude seems random.
Yep.
Which makes it worse, right? Because then you can never like set into a rhythm of like being
You
like,
can't
oh,
just
cool.
tune it out.
You can't tune it out. That's the worst part. You cannot tune it out because it's constantly changing. So it's just busy fucking noise. It's like white noise. That's the most annoying fucking white noise you could hear. And it's beep, and only you hear this. You don't hear this at all. And it's definitely coming from the manor. You also are very well aware that if you had to listen to this for a protracted amount of time, this would be maddening.
We would not want to live here.
some sort of an anti-lycanthropy.
Maybe it's just
artifact.
annoying
You get the
to
sense it's probably
wildlife.
just because your hearing is more sensitive that you're able to
It's a
pick
dog
up this. Yeah, that type of thing. Mhm. Which makes sense why it's affecting the jackal. Sorry,
Yeah.
why it's affecting the jackalware so much too. They had mentioned to you how about like it's affecting our young, like it's a problem, like it's a really big problem for the forest. Like this
That
needs
would
to stop.
explain why there's no animals on the grounds. Maybe this was like a protection mechanism to
Well,
keep it clean.
Was
I
that
mean, go ahead.
when I talked with the jackalwares, one of the things they said was that they miss having my sister in the forest because she helps quiet the voices. So I wonder if her being gone is because somebody is trying to do something with this sound.
All I know is that if we can't turn this off, I don't want to be around here anymore.
Same.
So what do you guys do?
I guess we go try to investigate the source of the sound.
To the manor.
Okay, so you guys approach the manor with your combined effort. You can absolutely like kind of wrest the doors free from their wisteria and moss and vine-like prison in order to open them. And you can absolutely say this place is kind of decrepit and old. And we're gonna get right into that after the break. We're gonna take a little break. We'll be back in a minute. Stay safe out there. We'll be right back. Bye.
About to find out.
Do you want a phone book?
No, it's,
No, you're
hello, and we're back.
It totally clears.
All right, so you guys are here. I'm actually going to move the camera now over to a little bit more of what it shows here, just so you guys can get an idea. Of what's
Yeah, I
going
gotta get the
on.
battle map and see this impressive structure.
Oh,
Stop.
let
Gotta turn
me
on the
change this real quick.
map lights. Yeah.
There we go. Better. So this is the manor as you have seen it. We'll see it from the. Oh, my camera is gone. Hold on. Why is my camera gone? There we go. Why does my camera keep going away?
Hey, Gene, where'd you get such a cool figure?
You can get this many at Prince of Ages. Maybe not.
This and many more. Prince of Ages Etsy shop.
Get minis like this
Help support the
Showing
channel.
it.
through Prince of Ages.
We use it for fidget spinners.
There we go. So you can see the front here, and then you can see the side here, and then we can show you the overhead here of what is going on here. Obviously, this is the steeple here. I'm not gonna, just because it blocks my face, but you get the idea. There's moss covering a lot of this area, and you guys can break through and enter. I will move it over to kind of show where you guys are. In just a second here, let's move this. Whoops, sorry, pardon me, sorry, excuse me. We're working on figuring this out. Yep, there we go. Okay, let's move this guy. Move this guy. Okay. You want this out? You want this back? Here you go.
Did we ask our realtor, is this what, a 2-bed, 2-bath?
You broke.
Behind you.
Okay, so you're entering the front door. So you're entering the front door here. So I'll say, if you want, you guys can be like here, there. Where are you, Oscar? There you go, right there. There you go. So you see like a hall in front of you. Like you definitely see a lot of. Well, my camera's not messed up. There we go. You definitely see a lot of like defunct kind of like cobwebs, and there's definitely vines that have kind of gone into the plaster and kind of pushed them their way through to start warping and wrapping around the lining of the framing of the windows and stuff like that. Most of the windows here are trellised windows where they don't actually have glass panes, but they just have kind of trellised wood. And so you see a lot of stuff wrapping throughout there. Some of the moss has actually started to grow within as well. But you enter here, and you just kind of get this, like, while you're in here, after you pull the doors open, you enter, the sound is louder. I don't think Nea is still able to hear it just quite yet. I think just you two are able to hear it still.
Well, we're getting closer because that's way more uncomfortable.
What is uncomfortable?
There's this sound, this pitch. It's like it's not stable. It keeps wandering, and it's driving me absolutely nuts. We got to figure out where this is coming from. If this is going to be the place we pick. But since we're in here, it's definitely louder. So it comes from somewhere in here, most likely. You can't hear that? Oh,
No.
it's so loud.
Do you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't be alarmed. I'm gonna try something. Can I, like, shift into hybrid form?
Sure. Do you want to shift into half fish and flop on the floor, or do you want to shift into
Yeah.
half Wolf.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know because you have both of those abilities. You have to be more specific. Yeah, you absolutely can.
Want to see if it
I don't
gets.
have a mini for that.
No, it's I only doing it temporarily, just real quick,
Sure.
and then shift back. I just want to see if it gets worse.
Okay. Roll another perception check at advantage then for me. Yeah.
Or if I can tell anything differently about it
Yeah.
in a more animalistic form. 16.
16. It feels kind of like based feels where it feels omnidirectional. Where it's really hard to tell where the source is because of the frequency of where it is. It usually like the lower the frequency is really hard to tell because it sometimes can be omnidirectional because it bounces off so many things. It's so high, it kind of has this similar type of thing, especially in this type of way. It feels. It doesn't feel natural. Let's just say that. It doesn't feel like it's a natural source. As far as like, it doesn't feel like a creature. Does that make sense? But it's hard to tell where it's coming from. It does get a little worse as your ears just adapt to become more bestial.
Hell of a pest deterrent.
Shift back.
Yeah. Okay. You don't have a limit to how many times you could do that, right?
No.
Okay.
You didn't give us one.
No, I didn't mean to.
Okay.
As long as it costs you an action to.
Yes.
So that means like that would be your turn. in
Right.
Combat. Yeah.
6 seconds shift. 6 seconds shift back. Yeah.
That's enough of a penalty. Go ahead. Oscar, you said you wanted to do something?
No.
Okay.
Would the spell locate object work on something
You would
that I
have to
could
be familiar with the
describe?
object.
Something. Hey, what's causing that noise?
I think the
Or is
spell.
that not specific enough?
I think the spell specifically requires you to be somewhat like familiar with it, or at least like seen it before, touched it before, or if that's what you mean.
So it can locate a specific object known to you.
Known to you.
Alternately, it can locate the nearest object of a particular kind.
Okay. All right. So what shenanigans are you trying to do? Here.
This is obviously not natural.
Not natural as far as like, this doesn't seem like a creature is shrieking bloody murder because it's
Right.
being like hurt or type of thing. Natural is also a very ambiguous term, so it's very difficult to help define that. But because technically everything
also
is
doesn't
natural.
work through materials. So if there's a locked door in the way, like
There's a lot of like you are in a closed door area
Yeah.
right now, so like
So
that
never
would be
mind.
difficult.
never mind.
Locate object doesn't. No, locate object works through that.
No.
It just doesn't work through certain materials like 4 feet of wood, 1 inch of lead, that type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Any thickness of lead,
Yeah.
even a thin sheet.
Yes, but like 4 feet of ground, 1 foot
Yeah.
of wood.
It doesn't
Yeah,
say
no-
anything about anything else. I read that wrong. It's just lead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, as long as something is not in a lead-lined box. Granted, locate. It'd be difficult because, like, why don't you tell me, if you want to cast a spell, what
It's too much
kind of
fuckery.
type?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what the object is that's making the
Yeah.
noise.
I was gonna try and just say like the nearest arcane object that is making this piercing.
That's a little
sound.
too ambiguous. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we venture further in to try to find the source of the noise.
Okay. You move through the foyer.
I am gonna cast protection from good and evil.
Okay. You cast. How long does that last?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. And is that concentration?
It is yes.
Okay, concentration. Just make sure you know that.
Yep.
You move through on yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys move through the foyer. You come to this door right here.
Told us it was haunted. I'm not taking any chances.
You come to this door right here. What do you guys do when you get to the door here? It's a nice foyer. It's a very nice foyer.
It was.
If it weren't correct, it was a nice foyer. You can see there are quite a few like hooks to hang certain things. There's a chiffre robe in order to put in a wardrobe in order to put types of things. There also seems to be like an indentation, kind of like how a tatami mat or like into like a Japanese house has that just small drop where you leave your shoes and stuff before you enter like the hardwood of the floor. Like there's a type of that, but it's along the side rather than the front, where there are still articles of footwear that are sitting there that seem to have been there for a very long time. But yeah, you walk through and you come to another door.
Open the door.
You want to try to open the door?
Yeah.
Okay. It seems locked, or just stuck. You're not sure which one.
Hey, Tumon, can you get in there and dissolve all the innards of this thing? It's metal.
And it kind of sloops off of your shoulder and kind of onto the like wrought iron handle and just kind of gets sucked into the keyhole and just kind of sits there. And you hear ting, 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 ting. And the door just
Good job, little dude.
I'm not sure if I dislike Tumon's kissing, sucking noises more than Kasixi's sly,
you know those videos on
dry
TikTok.
sarcasm.
You know those videos on TikTok of that guy that just goes
Yeah.
to like the hot
The
iron
fart
balls
noises,
that goes
yeah.
into the gel. The thing. It's pretty much like that's Tubon Jr. Pretty much like in a nutshell. Like all the time, it's just not farting as much as like kind of kissing. Yeah. I was thinking so that the door opens only ajar before it's. It seems to the hinges not be planed as well, so it kind of gets stuck on the ground. But yeah, it is open. You see before you what looks like a larger, I wouldn't say like living area. This place, actually, this is looks just as old, but I think with your just kind of cursory examination of the door, it doesn't look like it was locked. It looks like it was like stuck, like it was like purposely jammed in a type of way. And Tumon just been like, okay, well, I'm just going to undo everything and just make it so that nothing can click. So that would open it up to a certain point. I think what you do see just immediately, passive perception, is that there appear to be some like spots on the ground where there's still a lot of dust, but there's more dust in certain places, kind of like giving the idea like there was a lazy boy there. There was like a red velvet chair there. Was like something. There was some stuff in it, but it's been taken from. You also see some like remnants of. There are like thick layers of dust and then not so thick layers of dust, meaning like something was there at one point but has been then taken after a long time. Things have been dragged off. This place looks looted. This place looks looted quite a bit. I'll say like cursory glance. You can always, if you're kind of like looking around the area, you guys can roll investigation checks if you like, if that's what you want to do.
Sure.
14.
11.
11.
11. This place is looted. You see a stairwell that goes up, made of stone. You see some windows around the area, some lanterns there's another door that goes out the side, and that's about it.
You said it looked like there was stuff below based on the way the foundations were in their current state. Is there any door or hatch on the floor?
When Nea was here and you guys were here and your senses were meaning like there was some sort of subterranean foundation. Whether or not you know if there's a basement or not, who knows? But you also don't see. This looks like the entirety of the first floor, which seems odd to you, particularly Nea, because you definitely felt something under, but you don't see a way down.
Can I look for a way down? Like a hatch or...
Yeah, you want to roll another investigation check?
Yeah.
I think it occurs more to Nea, but you can absolutely share that if you so choose. Yeah.
Nope. That's an 8.
6.
You don't see anything. I mean, it just like it looks. You don't even see like different settled dusts. Meaning, like if there were other people that were looting, if there was a way down, you don't think they found it either, which doesn't give you any clue to find out where, if there would be, even if it did exist, where it would be. You know,
We should have brought your mistake.
I guess we're going upstairs.
Yep. You guys can go upstairs. Adam, you want to hand me the second floor? What you find upstairs, I'm not going to bother with this, is a wood floor. You guys kind of round about. Interestingly enough, the wood here doesn't look like rotten and old. Neither did the stone, but like it doesn't look. It doesn't look. It looks less aged than the dust would suggest. Let's just say. What you do notice is that this stone wall over here that rises up doesn't appear to, like, from the outside you saw there was some type of tower or belfry, that type of thing, but you don't see a way up. Meaning, like, you would have to like scale it from the outside, or you don't know. You don't see any way up, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
That means that either something is preserving this wood or the dust is an illusion. I want to go back and look at that dust.
I mean, the dust is below you.
Yeah.
You're stepping on it.
I'm stepping on it. I'm
Well-
not stepping through it.
I mean, what would you like to do to the dust?
I just want to make sure that it's real. Like, that it's not made to look like, oh, it's an abandoned place. It's looted. Some sort of like...
Okay, go ahead and roll another investigation check for me.
You know, like, oh, there's not... Same roll. Dang it. It's an 8. Like, that there's nothing to see here. You can just leave. There's nothing to
You
take.
put your fingers down and dust ends up on your fingers, and then you kind of, and then it goes into the air. I mean, and you look down and you see your fingerprints. I mean, you don't know. Like, it's just for something to be haunted. Like, I think your vibe here is just like for something to be haunted. Like, there's not a whole lot going on here except for looks like a house that was looted, and that's about it.
Then why is
Although the amount of dust that's here
Yeah.
is a lot compared to, even though it's like it is in disrepair, but not like falling the fuck apart like shingles. I mean, there are shingles falling off, but like not falling the fuck apart. It's like you guys have seen shit on the side of the road of like, you know, old mining houses that are just gone, except for a couple of fucking logs. Like this seems pretty fucking old, and it's still standing, and it's not even leaning over. Like it seems.
Can I like check this wall where the tower would be?
Sure. Go ahead and roll an investigation check.
Hey, Tumon, you find any cracks here you can flow through? Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You let Tumon go, and you like kind of just put your soft, shitty body up against the wall, and just kind of like let it go against the abrasive stone. Sorry, it's too funny. And Suban just kind of like, and just does that whole thing where like when you make a ruler go type of thing, when you put it on the edge of a desk and you go, and he does that with the liquid as he finds a crease, and he just goes into the fucking crease and he's gone.
Where'd your pet go?
Find any sort of latch over there?
As one of the stones just kind of falls out as the grout is like disintegrated, and you can see through the hole that is now has like this long kind of like limestone type stone. There's a room that's like hidden behind here.
Found it.
You won't be able to fit through this though. It's like only this big.
Wait, did someone, like, not brick, but to use the term, like, brick this up? Or is this not the way?
It's odd because it looks like load bearing, So it doesn't make sense that this would be. It's very odd. It looks load bearing. Meaning, like, if somebody were like, if you were to like try to demo this, like, you could demolish the belfry, like, and so having a room behind it, like, this doesn't make any sense. Meaning, like, this was built with the original construction, but it's still behind. Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. None of this makes any sense. The dust doesn't make any sense. The time this was there doesn't make sense. The fact that this is decayed, not enough for the dust to be able to settle, makes any sense. The fact that the load bearing is here and part of the original structure doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any sense. Like chronologically, none of it makes any sense.
This house doesn't make
Magic
any
fuckery.
sense.
Sorry. God damn you, Alex.
Looking into the hole, though, can we see a different entrance? Are there stairs that lead down?
There are stairs that lead. There's a ladder that leads up into the belfry, from what you can tell.
But nothing that leads down or to the sides.
Not that you can tell. No. There are windows to the right and to the left.
I mean, we get out there on that little roof thing and try and get in from the side, but
There's a
something's,
ladder that goes up into the belt from there, but like, yeah, up as far as getting in there, yeah.
something's going on here.
I will also say there is no dust within this room. I mean, like, it doesn't look like clean, but there's not this thick layer of dust here.
Thick.
What'd you say?
Don't worry about it.
I'm only paid to clean this part of the house.
I mean, yeah, I guess I could hop out on the ledge and see if I can get in through that window.
Okay.
Does
You
the-
guys fastball special and just throw Osfer out of the window?
No, he's
Okay.
got dope monk shit.
Okay.
He can climb pretty nimbly.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nimbly.
You want to
From
like-
tree to tree.
So this is like a trellised window, meaning like you'd have to break it in order to get out.
I don't wanna
You
break the
could
window.
break it, but
We don't
you
own
would
this
break
house
it.
yet. Okay.
I mean, we can go outside.
Yeah.
And I can toss you up on the roof.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. You guys can go outside. So you stay here as you're like, what is with this wood? And you go outside, and Bass is like,
Give him the
Yep,
old cheerleader.
yep. I'm not gonna be. This is stupid. I'm not gonna make you roll for that. But there you are.
Cool. Let's try to go in through the window.
Sure. Again, you'll have to break this window.
Damn it.
They're all trellis
Too
windows.
polite to break the windows on a house we don't even own.
I love that. A lawful good monk that is like, I'm supposed to break and enter, but I can't do the breaking.
Okay, but through the window, I'm sure I can see more of what's in that room.
You can see
right?
pretty much what you could see from before. It's just a different perspective.
Oh, okay.
It's just the ladder goes up into the belfry. That's all.
Can Naya tell what kind of wood it is upstairs on the floor?
Yes, you can. Why don't you go ahead and roll a nature check at advantage for me?
Okay. That's a 21.
This is ironwood.
Ooh.
Oh.
So I might
This is
not be able to
also
break it.
iron. This is like low grade ironwood. It seems like the scraps of ironwood that were left over from like processing that were repurposed to just be like kind of like particle board. If I had a contemporary example, like or like chicken nuggets, the scraps of stuff that was then shredded up to be used for
So
something else.
delicious.
So,
So technically, these are the corpses of your family.
yes.
That you're stepping on.
So Naya is pissed, and she breaks the windows.
Okay,
like-
just all of them.
All of the windows on that floor.
So Osfer, you get like, and you're like looking at this
The
window,
windows
you're like,
are people.
I don't want to break this window. I don't want to break this window. And all of a sudden, all the windows around you just start shattering as Naya's like, ah! And you see all these vines and roots coming out of it. Yep.
yeah,
Was
she's
it the-
she's furious.
Was it only the windows or the floor as well?
Not
like-
the floor, because the floor is family.
It appears to be like all of the foundational load-bearing wood here. I suppose, other than like the trellises of the windows, even the frames of the windows appear to be
It's all
like,
ironwood.
low quality, like reshredded and recycled ironwood.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
this is
so
if
she's-
this is
she's-
ironwood, this is an old fucking house. This is old.
Yeah. I think she's just furious at that they would do this.
We don't own this yet. What are you doing? Stop breaking shit.
All of the load bearing wood, all of the frames, all of the floor. This is the wood of my people. It's us. They made it out of my family.
Oh.
So I don't care who owns it. They owe me. See what's in that room.
Okay. Can do. I mean, she's like 10
apologize.
foot tall and hulking out like.
You didn't know. I didn't know.
I've had a little bit of a mental moment here. I can just teleport into that room.
You're like,
Why didn't I just miss?
I don't know why we've been doing this whole thing.
snap your fingers, you go, and you go end up in the
Misty
room.
step into there.
And like you end up after all, like Oscar's like, I don't want to break this window, and all the windows start shattering against him. And you look back at the window, and Bass is just on the other side of the window. And go, ah! Bass is just there. I don't have a
Yeah.
representation of it, but he's in there.
Do I see anything on the inside of
There's
the...
a trap door above you. There's just a ladder. It's just stone all around you. That's it. And there's just a ladder that just goes into a trap door. That's it. And the windows around.
Just
That's
a
it.
stone room ladder trapdoor.
Yep. It's like a big chimney with windows.
That would be a very bad chimney.
This place is weird. But I'm going to see if there's anything up there.
Okay. Give me the other one.
Alex, behind you. Should be pretty solid.
Yeah, no, it's super solid.
I just didn't want to pick it up at the chimney and like snap it off.
Yeah, no, it's super solid.
Well, the chimney is like a quarter of the size of that. I didn't want to just like.
I
Torque.
Can get it to snap. It doesn't matter. You can end up here in the belfry, and you see the bell. You see the remnants of a bell. The bell has been. It looks like it's been like rusted, and like wrenched from its mooring to the point where it is now in tatters in the corner and no longer hanging from the belfry. As if like the Liberty Bell was purposely cracked along its frame and then cracked like 17 more times to this. There's only like this much left of it and sitting in the corner.
And there's nothing else up here.
The interesting part of it is that your ears hurt like fucking hell. Please roll a Constitution saving throw as you're up here.
A plus 5. It's only a 12.
Does protection give you anything?
Oh, I would say yes. That'll give you an advantage on this. Yes. Nice call.
That's still only a 17.
17 will do it. I think you feel your brain like splitting to the point of like migraine where it's too much. It's like, get the sound to stop, get the sound to stop, get the sound. As you open the...
Tumon, go eat that.
You say this through like hands over your ears because that's like the only way you're going to be able to survive this type of thing. You say, Timon, go eat that. And Timon's just like... And you see Timon also like vibrating, like he's also feeling the hertz and like the frequency of what's going on here, and not being super semi-permeable, and also kind of like rather than be able to go, you know, and he kind of eventually like amoeba style works his way over there and touches it, and you see them go, they pull back as like use. It's almost like touching a hot, it's hot on the bottom, like a hot, like cast iron plate or skillet or something like that. They seem to come back. They keep trying, but they go, tss, tss, tss. You don't see any steam, but they keep reacting like that. And it's like, bee, and your bee, just like, just this super high-pitched beam through your head from one ear and out the other to your temples and just through the core of your skull. You do see as Tumon begins to disturb this and tries to, he said pierce rust and then dissolving it, flicking off rust and then dissolving it. You do see what looks like this gestalt vapor that appears to rise from the remnants of this bell, and it's like sitting in a pile of detritus too. You're not sure if it's like leaves and just like, compost of just stuff that's just collected in the belfry over weather. You're not sure what it is. You don't have you don't have all of your wits about you to really give it an idea. It just looks like dark brown detritus. You can't really tell what it is. And not unless you had could take a moment, and at this moment you really can't. But you do see this gestalt vapor, which kind of looks like the superimposition of, again, like Final Fantasy spirits within type of soul of the depleted piece of artifact of belfry, of the bell that kind of arises out of it and then begins to go into like a wisp of kind of like orange and this light baby aquamarine blue, and then like spreads like it was going into a sine cosine curve and then stretch and then snap back as you see there's like this tiny infinitesimal point that spreads into a line from your perspective, but then eventually turns to the point where it was like a two-dimensional plane that then just quickly turns like a flat sign that then just turns to so you can see all it is, and it's like the silhouette of an image that then morphs into a three-dimensional image and pulls out itself from the two-dimensional image to either side, and you just see this tall. You can't get in any features because it's just like the outline, and it's like looking through a glass ball where the outline is far more like white and like has a color to it, whereas the in center of it is far more translucent. You can see right through it, but the closer you get to the border, it has more of a opaque color to it. You see this like it's that again. Baby blue yet aquamarine color along the edge of this kind of silhouette of a humanoid figure, robed in garb, flowing hair. But again, no features, just the outline. If you could make a two-dimensional outline, so no matter what angle you look at this thing of, you only get the two-dimensional outline. You never get any of the other divine features. And it's just there, kind of like floating about maybe 8 inches from the ground. And the sound is now ear-splitting. Osfer, I want you to roll a Constitution saving throw for me. Nea, you think you hear something, but it's not enough to make you hurt. It's just something like your stoma kind of vibrate a little bit. What'd you get?
14.
14?
Would you say that's more than 10 feet?
You do disadvantage because you have protection.
No, I know. Osfer. He's more than 10 feet below me outside that wall, right? Outside that window.
What full story?
Yeah, because
beneath
he
you.
hasn't broken the window yet. He's still on the roof.
Right, but that's open, right? So we're only like...
Oh, yeah. No, that's like 20 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like 20 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless you have wanted to try to break the window
Nope.
and get in there. Okay.
Well, the window's
There's no
broken.
window.
Also,
he
monk,
could-
you could climb the
he
wall
could
if you
just-
want to.
There's no window on the top, on the belfry.
No,
right?
it's open.
Right. And he's still out on the roof.
He's all the way down there on the
yeah,
roof.
like a floor, 2 floors
20
down.
feet, like 15, 20 feet down. Yeah.
Okay. I got a 24.
24. Okay. Osfer, you now hear like this absolute splitting sound that it's far too much for you to bear. You have two options. You're going to have to choose between the two. Either you succumb to like the fear condition and to the point where it's kind of like Dragon's Fear, where you have to get the fuck out of here as fast as you possibly can and use your action and your movement to dash as far away as you fucking possibly can and just drop everything that you're doing. Or you transform.
Ooh, yeah, I'd probably run away,
Okay.
and that's a long way away
It is a long way away.
because movement, and then, well, to take the dash action, yeah, that's 90 feet.
Okay. So again, this is all happening very fast. So you are just like, I can't handle this anymore. And either I try to move into a form where I think might be more sturdy, or I get the fuck out of here. And you were just like, I'm on the fuck out of here.
Yep.
You're monk, slow fall, whatever. You can get the fuck. You're off the map. You're straight up off the map. You move way too fast. You are just you just say "see ya" and just are gone.
Yeah,
You're into
I-
the tree line by that point.
I would probably run away with my hands on my ears, going like, ah.
Yeah, doing the whole like. You're so lucky. The only reason why you don't hit a tree is because you're a monk and you're so very aware of your surroundings. Yeah, you just run straight in the forest. Nea, you see Oscar just jump off the tree and jump off the roof and just piece the fuck out. While you're doing this, you feel like what would be your spine kind of like tingle. And you feel, you know that feeling of like how Obi-Wan felt 1,000 voices screaming out all at once as Alderaan was destroyed? You feel like the cry of like, it's so fucking cold, I'm so scared, for like a split second behind you.
Do I recognize the voice that says that?
It's like a collection.
Okay.
It's a collective.
I think as
And the only reason why you feel it is because you're like connected to living things.
so as Nea sees Osfer running into the tree line, I think she gathers herself a bit, and then I think she would like shout out the window, "Where are you going?" And then realize that she hasn't heard Bass in a bit. So I think maybe she goes over to the nearest window and kind of looks up at the bell tower.
Okay. So you go over to the nearest window here.
That is broken out.
And she leans out and looks up at the bell tower.
Oh, no, none of the windows are broken out, are they?
I broke
broke out.
all of
Oh,
the
that's
windows
right.
on
Yeah,
that
you
floor.
broke it all except for the Oscar was like, I see her doing it, but I don't want to do that. Yeah. And then runs away. Yeah.
We don't own the place yet. It's too early to demo.
So you see if you
I-
can look up and
I-
see if Bast.
Yeah, so I see Oscar running away and I shout after him, "Where are you going?" And then I look up to see maybe what he saw that made him scared like that.
Okay, cool. This is like the last round of like being able to like observe stuff. You look up and you see there is this same type of image that I described, kind of standing before him. Almost looks like it's somewhat pulling vapor from the something in the corner. You don't know. From your angle, you can't really tell. But Bast is just kind of just that whole like that just really visceral to first of like what like, oh, this is a thing that hasn't really come to terms with what's happening just quite yet, just because whatever, that's initiative will decide how fast he reacts to this type of thing. But that's what you see. You then all those voices that were screaming out is like, it's so fucking cold and I'm so scared. Stop.
She has to get up into the tower.
But you feel this not up there. You feel this. You had felt this like behind you.
Oh.
So like if you were standing here before and you had like broken all the windows, you felt this like over here.
Okay, then I'm going to head over toward that staircase.
Okay. As you like, you had run over the window and looked up because you heard stuff, and then you turn around, and as you turn around, you see a similar image that you had seen in the belfry, also there, and it's like just finishing like phasing through the floor as it just kind of pulls itself back again. Can't make out any three-dimensional features. It's just the silhouette of what would be from kind of like a gelatinous type of view and vapor. But you feel you can like pinpoint the moment that it stops passing through the floor is the moment that you stop hearing the painful screams of it's so fucking cold. I'm so scared. What's up?
Can I retcon something? I forgot I
Sure.
have an ability.
Yeah.
I can spend an action to not be afraid anymore.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you
Yep.
can do like the quiet mind
Yep.
thing. I'll say, I think you take a turn to go all the way out here, and
Yeah.
then you take a moment. You're like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay, and then you're able to come back.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get to that next time. As you do that, you see these two like ghostly figures before you. We'll get to that next time. Thank you guys so much. As always, stay safe out there. Oh. Let's see if I can figure this out. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.